Colossians chapter 2. And then notice something here, very, very key, I think, about wisdom. Notice Colossians chapter 2 and verse 3 says, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Now, this is referring, of course, to Jesus Christ. Notice back up at verse 2, that their hearts may become encouraged, being knit together in love and attaining to all riches of the full assurance of understanding, to the knowledge of the mystery of God, both of the Father and of Christ, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. See, the treasure is always hidden. That's why it must be sought for by man. It must be sought by man. If you don't seek it, you won't get it. You have no right to treasure that you're not willing to dig for. You have no right to treasure that you're not willing to dig for. Now, if you'll notice this very, very familiar passage, of course, in James chapter 1, you know, it talks about it, that if any of you lack wisdom, let him do what? Ask of God. Now, God knows we need it. Why don't he just give it to us? Why don't he just make us born with it? It says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. That's seeking. See, remember ask, A-S-K, ask, seek, knock. There are three dimensions of asking. Each one is pursuing, asking, seeking, knocking. Each one. Remember, it must be sought after. Let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. It will be given. It's not a maybe, it's a promise. God promises, I'll give it to you, but you got to ask me for it. You ever like that, where you sometimes when I'm like, I know a secret, but and you want them to be hungry to know it. It's like, I mean, if it doesn't matter to you whether I tell you or not, I'll just hold it. You want them to be hungry for it. God is saying, I've got a treasure of wisdom in me, but I want you to ask me for it. You've got to ask me. I want you to be hungry, because if you don't ask me for it, it's almost as though unsolicited advice is interpreted as criticism. So you have to be very careful, because if we didn't ask for it, then we won't appreciate it, and we probably won't use it. And then you'll notice, remember from Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 3, where God talks about giving us the treasures of darkness. The treasures of darkness, you know, but these things must be sought after. Treasure is always in darkness, it's always hidden, it's buried under something. It must be sought by man. It must be sought. Notice he says here, back in Proverbs 2, if you seek her as silver, seek her like you're digging for silver. You dig for silver. Silver is not found on top of the ground, on top of a mountain. You have to dig for it. You dig for silver and search for her as for hidden treasures. Look like you're looking for money that you lost. Now, you know, I mean, I've seen ladies nearly tear the lining of their pocketbooks out because they know they had some money in there. And you know, when you really get desperate, you go there and look in the couch and pull up the pillows and, you know, trying to find extra change, and y'all must be loaded. I mean, you know somebody who used to back in the day when they were in dire straits, being that condition. Think of yourself in terms of looking for wisdom like that. You want to look for wisdom like you're digging for treasure. It's real treasure. And that's what we want to understand, that it's a real treasure in our life. Here's the second point that I want you to get about wisdom. Wisdom must be given by God. It must be given by God. Wisdom has to be sought by man, but wisdom must be given by God. It's given by God. It is the Lord who gives wisdom. Notice verse 6, for the Lord gives wisdom. It's the Lord who gives it. The Lord gives wisdom. And we are grateful to God that God gives us wisdom. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives it liberally to all men. Now, please understand this. God may give you the wisdom through your grandmama. Now, wouldn't it be silly of you if I sent you a beautiful gift of a diamond ring or something? You get it in the mail. Let's say you want to get it by FedEx or UPS. And wouldn't it be silly for you to go to the door and then receive it, sign for the package, receive it, open it up, and then just start kissing all over the delivery person? When the delivery person was not the one who sent it. That's why I said God gives wisdom, but he might send it through your grandmama. So now don't go to tonguing with grandma just because you give her a kiss on the cheek. You express your love to grandma. But realize that God gives wisdom. God gives all wisdom. God gives wisdom. He might give it through someone that you know. He might give it through a book. He might give it through an experience that you had. But it's God giving you the wisdom. God gives wisdom. Wisdom must be sought by man, but wisdom is given by God. Here's the third thing. Must be sought by man, but it must be given by God. Thirdly, it has to be applied to life. Why would God waste his time giving you wisdom if you're not going to apply it to life? Wisdom must be applied to life. It has to be. You'll notice it is the wisdom of God that brings the fear of the Lord into our heart. If you notice over in Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 12 through 14, you'll notice something in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 12 through 14. Notice it says, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance and the evil way, and the perverse mouth I hate. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding and I have strength. But notice here, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Now, why is it that wisdom tells us that we have to hate evil? You know why? Because if you're doing something that is evil, and if you don't hate it, you'll never stop it. You don't stop sin that you still are in love with. You will never quit sin that you still love. You've got to get sick of it to the degree that you hate it, you loathe it, and then you'll stop it. You can't stop sin that you're still enjoying. If you enjoy it, you can't cut it off. It is the fear of the Lord that causes us to hate sin. It's the fear of the Lord that helps us to abstain from the sin. But we have to hate it. You'll never stop it just because somebody said don't do it. You stop it because you get sick and tired of it, because you hate it. And that's why I often pray, God, help me to hate what you hate so I can love what you love. The fear of the Lord helps us to do that. But God's wisdom will not help you if you don't apply it to your life. If you don't apply that to your life, it will not help you. You see, there are various things that we have to leave in our life. And if you don't learn to leave them, it'll still be lingering around in your life. And it'll always linger until you start hating it. Because for every sin that we love, there is a consequence. I mean, you all know what it's like to fall in love with somebody who's no good for you. And you may love them, but are there consequences? See, you know that there are consequences. You know, he's so cute and everything. Oh, she's so fine. You know, all of this, but then when they start stalking you, see, I don't care what it is. If you don't find the things that you hate about it. Oh, I hate when they start ignoring me. I hate when they, I don't care how wonderful you think that you are addicted to their love. You've got to look at the consequences that keep producing themselves out of your life if you're going to ever break that thing off and get free of that contaminating relationship. I hate always wind up feeling that. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that it couldn't last but 2 weeks, and now they would be back to themselves. And you got to hate how it leads you into this roller coaster of emotion. You hate the drama. You hate the negativity. You hate all of this stuff, you know, the bills that they create for you. You hate it. You hate it. You hate it. You hate feeling used. But yet you still loves him. But you got to start, you'll never leave what you love. You'll never leave what you love. Look at the consequences. You hate the consequences. You like the cause, you don't like the effect. You hate the effect. And when you focus on that, it is the fear of the Lord that will bring the wisdom to say, listen, stop doing this. Because most folks, if they would really be honest, they'd realize that they're the ones that are causing the havoc in their own lives. May I tell you that the primary difference between losers and winners is their perspective. Your outlook does determine your outcome. And what separates winners from losers is how they think and how they perceive reality. May I tell you, what you think about is what you bring about. What's on your mind? Wisdom will give you something different to think about. What you think about is what you bring about. The thoughts that captivate your mind become real in time.
Thank you for watching Power for Living with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Until next time, God bless you.